Now I give the floor to Pedro Silva Pereira for the S&D.
Thank you, Chair. Vice President Guindos, you're very much welcome again here in the European Parliament. I've raised this issue a couple of times with President Lagarde. I have to do it once again. Something is going very wrong with the ECB projections about inflation, and I mean the short-term projections. For this year of 2024, in September, only 6 months ago, your projection was 3.4%. In December, it was 2.7%. And last month, in March, it was 2.3%. So we had a dramatic decrease in your projections of correction of 1.1% in only 6 months. Of course, the problem is not inflation is declining. The problem is that the ECB is not understanding what is going on and having difficulties to predict. So the question is, to what extent is the ECB defining its monetary policy and delaying a cut in the interest rates based on wrong assumptions about inflation? In fact, how reliable is the projection for this year of 2.3%, since the figure in March was 2.4%. And the ECB, and you recall that, is predicting a downward trend for the rest of the year. So probably this 2.3% will have to be reviewed. And finally, in your projection, you got 1.9% for 2026, meaning that it will be already below the target of the ECB mandate. So would you agree that time has come to make a change in the monetary policy of the European Central Bank?
Well, thank you very much for your questions. All the central banks, the large central banks in the world, all the even private forecasters, they have made a lot of mistakes with respect to the evolution of inflation. This is something that we have to acknowledge. Even you have seen that in the case of the Bank of England recently, Ben Bernanke has produced a report on how to improve the use of models. I think that the main point here is how models can influence the way that we elaborate our projections. But I have to say that models at the end of the day try to capture the reality of the economic performance of the different actors and how they interact. But the question is that over the last 4 years since the pandemic, we have had quite a few shocks that have made very difficult, to make projections about the future in an accurate way. We have the pandemic. We had the reopening of the economy. That was another shock. We had simultaneously, the war. So all these elements are very difficult to be captured by the models that are the basis of the projections for central banks. Nevertheless, we have started to react to that. And I can assure you that lately our projections are becoming more accurate. So what's our approach with respect to the future evolution of inflation? Well, we believe that after the important disinflation process that we have seen over the last 12 months, that you know perfectly, I'm not going to repeat, inflation is going to be hovering the present levels over the next months. But we are convinced that in the medium term, in 2025, we will be able to reach our target, that is 2%. So I would say that there are some risks: the evolution of wages, productivity, unit labor costs, profit margins, and geopolitical risks that are very difficult to take into consideration and to bear in mind when we elaborate our projections. Our monetary policy, I think that we have been crystal clear. If things continue as they have been evolving lately, in June, we will be ready to reduce the restriction of our monetary policy stance. And with respect to the future, taking into consideration the level of uncertainty that we have now, in the economic scenario, I think that we are crystal clear that we should follow a sort of data-dependent meeting-by-meeting approach, because with this level of uncertainty, it's very difficult to deliver a sort of forward guidance with respect to the future. But for June, as I have told you before, I think that we have very clear ideas of what we should be doing, in our next monetary policy governing council meeting.